Guten Morgen, lieben Kinder! It's morning, right, guys? Welcome. So we're continuing our series about the matchups that are considered kind of underpowered, and I've got some feedbacks from our Russian viewers for the YouTube, not for ChineseBeely.com, where some guys, some good friends of mine, asked me to do some games with the Vampire Coast. And I'm not gonna be lying to you, I'm a total huge fan of Vampire Coast, of the mechanics of this race. So here in this video I'm gonna make a beginning of a huge series of how-tos, how to do these multiplayer games as these dwarf vampires, as I call myself, the Vampire Coast. So the basic idea for most of top matchups, top skilled games that I've got, like the most competitive ones, are based around one principle. It's going very wide with the meat fodder, which is zombie pirate deckhand mobs, then zombie pirate deckhand, and some zombie pirate gunring mob. So these are three my favorite units in the whole damn roster, but there is a regiment of renowned cannon, which is Queen Bess. She's a total badass damage dealer in this matchup, so the main idea is to give enough time to Bess and give enough time to two Colossuses to deal their damage, and even to more improve their potential, which is already insane, we are bringing the hero, who is the Gunnery White. Gunnery White is gonna have only one skill, which is 60% increase to accuracy and to reload rate. So this game we're gonna be playing against the Dark Elves. My opponent picked Dark Elves as a countermeasure to my pick. He thought that it's gonna be a easy walk for him. It ain't gonna be that way, of course. But I promise that these days, when I lose, I promise to publish the first video when I'm losing a later game. So it's not like I'm choosing the games, but I've got quite lucky recently, so I won a few days in a row, and that was quite good. So I'm bringing another winning game. I'm sorry, guys. But I hope that the strategy that you're going to be seeing here now is going to be helpful to some of you, especially to those who are not such big fans of pirate vampires. But maybe some of you want to know this race better, so let's stare for a moment to these stacked 3 explosive barrels that are traversing down right on the heads of their foe. Let's see if it's gonna hit the stuff, and then we're gonna get back to the analytics of this matchup. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Давай, yup. Okay, that was a miss. That's such a waste. Okay, so we've got Dark Elf, and Dark Elf is quite decent pick against the Vampire Coast, because most of Dark Elves figure out that they can just spam some light infantry and just swarm the poor pirate vampires with their cheap infantry, with their silver shields, and the pirate ain't gonna be able to do much. So my opponent brings a lot of bleak swords, a lot of dread spears, then he supports these guys with some black arc corsair handbows. Then he goes with 2 units of elite infantry, Sisters of Slaughter, with poisonous attacks on both flanks. They go right on the right flank, right on the left flank, and then because the guy wants to be mobile, he brings 4 of the Dark Riders on both flanks, and those are gonna be committing some flanking maneuvers. As to the formations that we're using now in this match, it's like the game is very much about the plan on your maps, because sometimes you can have a perfect army, but because you don't know the map or not using it as good as your opponent, you lose. So here, this map, I know this map, and I figure out one of my favorite positions is putting the artillery pieces right over here to this spot, just next to this stone that blocks any maneuvering attacks from here. It also prevents any attacks from here, so I only have to protect this 1, 2, and 3rd direction. So actually this place is gonna be shut down by one halberd over here. Then if anything is gonna slip through them, there is another unit of these zombie pirate deckhand mob, and when these guys are gonna stop the enemy, these lads gonna attack from behind. Then we've got a lord. The lord is generic, a mage with some lore of, what was the lore? The vampire lore, yeah, with some heal to heal some blobs and to summon some zombies to win even more time to let the artillery pieces to shoot. So as you see, I'm stacking all artillery units at one place to let them all eat the buff from the gunnery white. And that's gonna be it, guys. So let's start and see how it's gonna go. Like from behind, I've got scurvy dogs, which are just an exact copy from the vampire Khan's dogs. These are my mobile troops that are supposed to be flanking the archers or any infantry that is approaching to you opportunistically. So some early shots being committed by my artillery. I'm trying to aim some blobs with the Colossuses and the Bess, and the idea of Dark Elf is that he has to go through as soon as possible. He has to flank from all over the place, and as you see, my opponent is doing quite well, because you could notice that every single unit, every single flank actually attacked at the same time. And while he was expecting that this unit is gonna die to a devastating charge for his dark riders, and actually they actually have died very quickly, but there was that supporting unit that I just noticed, warned you about. He came from the flank, and now he's doing some damage to this cavalry. So their best bet would be just to disengage, go from the both sides, and try to figure out the way how to get to Bess. But here we have another 2 halberds sitting there, because I know that the worst case scenario would be that one. And on the counter-attack, the curvy dogs are able to catch the dark riders, and not so good it's going in the middle, because the Sisters of Slaughter are much more superior unit than any of the infantry that I've got. So I'm trying to use my only zombie pirate gunnery mob to focus their fire on Sister of Slaughter, and to focus the fire of my artillery units of another unit of Sister of Slaughter. So it's a total rampage when the curvy dogs are coming from behind, because they're being invisible all this time. So I'm trying to change the direction of their movement, focus the artillery fire on different directions, stack the spearman units, because they are not anti-infantry who the curvy dogs are, and we are catching some crossbowmen on their retreat. So here another shot went to the Black Archers with hidden bows, another flanking maneuver from another curvy dogs to the spearman units, and as well there is a huge success of my opponent. He was able to use his Marathi Lord to destroy the Lord of Vampire Fleet Admiral that is being supported by zombie deckhand mobs. But I'm throwing a heal, I'm throwing another summoned unit just to win some time and let my Lord to leave, but it's not enough. And these 2 Colossuses stay strong there, putting some damage there, dealing a lot of stuff, but it's still very close game to this moment in the middle, but most of the map has already been decided who it belongs to. So you can see that all of the units that my opponent had, they ain't able to get through all of these fodder units of vampires, pirate vampires. So the artillery units, 2 Colossuses, 1 Bess, Queen Bess, they've been just putting shots on the blobbed enemy, while all these cheaper zombies just winning some time, and curvy dogs bring some destruction to ranged fire of my enemy. I lost my lord just a moment ago, but considering that the most units that my opponent had, those who are the main damage dealers, lost by my opponent, it's getting very tight. It's getting very close to the point when it's gonna be decided who's gonna be the winner. So as you can see, Queen Bess, she's just dealing too much, and at some point all of the units of Dark Elves have no other choice than to flee. So lads, as I said, I've been asked by some Russian-speaking friends to make few videos about the new coming Vampire Coast race, and here it is. It's number 1. It's Vampire Coast against Dark Elves. Dark Elves are considered by many to be a counter pick to the Vampire Coast. I don't think that they are, even though my opponent brought a quite smart build here, because you still have to remember, Dark Elf is thinking by this pattern. He's thinking, okay, I'm bringing some silver shields, I'm bringing a lot of infantry, so ranged units of the vampire ain't gonna be able to deal with this infantry, and their monsters ain't gonna be able to do that. But I haven't brought any monsters, I haven't brought any ranged infantry units or any flying ranged units. You only can see 1. I invest only 300 on it. So I was expecting something like this, so I just did what vampires do the best. You bring some fodder units, some zombies or some skeletons, if those are vampire counts units, and I bring some heavy hitting, cost-effective units. If we are playing the Pirate Coast, those are Queen Bess, which is just, I think, at the current meta, it's must-have unit. It brings much more threat than it brings any risks to you, and especially in the matchup against Dark Elves, when you're expecting a lot of shields, you just bring Colossuses or any artillery. So this is my thinking. I may be not the absolute example of how to be a total badass playing the Vampire Coast, but I'm doing the just to be happy, lads, and I hope that I made someone happy as well. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Subscribe. That was Morning Red. Go 10. You know. See you.